The first time I sailed was actually in Kentucky, of all places. We lived next to a very small lake, like an accent lake to a subdivision. And one day I looked out there, and there's a couple of old guys, and they had remote control sailboats. I remember seeing them out there and being like, wow, that's incredible. I need to get in on this action. So I walked up there, saw what they were doing, and decided then immediately I was going to go back to our basement where we lived and build my own little remote control sailboat. So I just got like, we had junk wood bin, so I just got like the junk wood, made a flat boat, two little arches, and put saran wrap in between them, and put a string on it, like a piece of twine. And I ran back to the lake, and that was my first time sailing. My name is Will Blake. Right now I'm kind of doing something crazy. I live on a boat full time with my wife as we try to circumnavigate the world. Yeah, yeah, it's nuts. I haven't always done this. I used to have a career. I worked in supply chain. I worked in all facets of supply chain. And it just so happened that I switched jobs right before COVID to a startup, which then grew like crazy. And I got to go along for the ride. And right as that ride was ending, we switched to boat life. And we've been doing this for 18 months now, a little over a year. It's a very different way of living. That's me, that's who I am. I'm a man who lives on a boat.
My name is Emily Blake. I haven't always been a sailor, obviously. I haven't always been a full-time sailor, I should say. Before all of this, I was a pipe fitter out of Local 597 in Chicago. I really liked my job. I loved the hands-on aspect. I loved the constant learning, the tangible, achievements. And I think that it gave me so many mechanical and general life skills that I don't think I would have found in an office job. Yeah, I think if you were to scale out my life, you would see that I don't tend to take the traditional or predetermined path in most situations. I feel like anybody who knows me and also knows my siblings looks at the three of us and is like, oh, you're the weird one. I was always just a little bit different, and I don't think I ever had a problem with that. You weren't gonna tell me that I had to go do something else because I just simply wouldn't have done it. I started sailing because the weirdest, most adventurous boy I had ever met was absolutely infatuated with it. He was obsessed, and he was a really great salesperson because of that. And he took me out sailing with some of his friends in Barnegat Bay, New Jersey, and I had some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. I couldn't give it up. It became just as much a part of my life as Will's at that point, and I couldn't have imagined life without it after that. It was just so much fun.
I love sailing, and anytime I go out is a good time. We used to have sailing days, and I used to wake up just the most ecstatic I'd have been the whole week, ready for sailing that day. I do think though that living on Appa, and particularly this season, that first 1,000 miles we did from Penasco down to PV, was some of my favorite sailing of all time. Hi, honey.
Hi, Billiam.
It would make their lives a lot easier if we could launch today.
What?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go look through our checklist and see what would really not make the cut. Today would be our last day here on the Heart anyway. They'll launch us tomorrow morning. It's the alternative.
What time today?
This afternoon. They would put us on the skateboard now.
Are they launching 10 today?
They would put us on the skateboard now, and that way I can do the bottom paint. And they'll launch us this afternoon, they said.
The emotional toll. I knew that it was going to be hard, and I knew that it was going to be a lot, very overwhelming at times. But there have been a few moments in the last year where I was more stressed than I have ever been in my life. And it definitely wears you down in those moments. You kind of question for a minute, what am I doing here? And then something good happens and you're like, oh, that's why. But I think those moments of real stress have been a very unexpected. I don't want to say it's a negative thing about cruising because everybody has moments like that no matter what they're doing in their life. I just feel like I was ill prepared for the severity of it in the moments that it does happen. it's hard to brace yourself for that level of stress. And a lot of it comes with just like being exposed to the elements in extreme situations as well. We've been in some pretty rough seas. We've seen some really strong wind. We've been caught in a few storms. And so it's really like those moments where something breaks or we start bickering because of the stress that it continues to build. And all of a sudden, the wave is crashing and you are ill prepared. They have now moved our launch time up 2 hours. We were originally going to launch between 3 and 4. Now we're launching at 2 o'clock, and it is currently 12:40. I haven't finished putting the new decals on the boat. The place is still a mess. Didn't have time to pick up any of our stuff over by the original spot. Without anybody giving me warning, they started moving us into the cradle, and I'm on the boat. I would much rather be on the ground, being able to gather tools or whatever. And now I think I'm trapped up here on the boat until we launch.
We're at 5.5 feet of water, which means we have like 3 inches underneath our keel. You have to start the engine now. I just looked. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. A few minutes, not long. All right, I think the engine's gonna start. Let me know when there's splash coming up.
Yeah, it's open. It takes a minute to cycle through. There it goes. There it goes.
Okay, I think we're looking really good. Everything downstairs is running fine.
Starboard tie.
We'll be on starboard tide. Slow as pro, we'll have time. And yeah, I think we're doing okay. I'm gonna let us run for another like 90 seconds, and I think we'll probably be okay.
Did you check that forward through all?
Check the fourth row, do not check the valve.
Do you need me to turn it on?
No, it's on. I'm gonna check my bow thruster. 1 second. Alright, todos bien. Estoy listo.
Welcome to season 2. We're just about to leave the dock. Woo! Woo!
You match the boat.
That's you matched the boat. That's kind of fun.
I think ultimately sailing to me is a sense of freedom. It's the ability to work with only what the world provides you to get you wherever you want to go and do it almost entirely independently. We're living off-grid, self-sustainably, in the most beautiful places, and we're doing it in a way that just feels natural, feels good to be human.
I think I might see sails out there. Maybe there were whale spouts. I saw 2 large white, like, columns. I thought were sails, but now they're both painted on. Oh no, there's one right there. It's
Whale?
gonna be a boat. Be able to see it?
No.
Oakley sunglasses.
The scariest part of getting started is actually a pretty easy question. It was abandoning the straight path that we were on. Emily and I were both career focused, part of society, keeping up with the Joneses. We had gone through the basic steps that every American's supposed to: schooling, post-schooling, career. And one of the things I really loved about a book I read long ago was this little concept that nobody wants you to go. Your family doesn't want you to go. Your church doesn't want you to go. The government doesn't want you to go. The banks don't want you to go. Nobody wants you to go. And I felt that very strongly as we try to leave.
I will be taking first shift this evening. I've just taken over the helm from Will, so it is 6 o'clock now. I'll be here until 9.
I'm peeing right here. Actually, most men die because they fall off the boat while peeing. So this is it. Don't do what I'm doing.
Don't ask me my opinions on this matter.
We're on standby, not autopilot.
I think the scariest part for me was leaving my job, but not just because it was leaving the paycheck. Despite the keeping up with the Joneses mentality that most American young adults tend to have, I had also forged a path for myself that was not standard or typical. And so I wasn't doing what my parents did, and I wasn't doing what my siblings were doing. I didn't go to college, or I didn't graduate from college, I should say. I did go to college. And I didn't do something that women normally do.
I think it's really funny that we went with orange as our accent color on this boat, because I've been telling myself you can take the construction worker out of high vis, but you can't take the high vis out of a construction worker. Shout out to all my fellow blue collar workers.
I feel like I had to force my way into a lot of the things that I did, and leaving that effort behind was a huge struggle mentally for a long time. And I feel like it wasn't until very recently as in the last few months, where I really felt like it was worth leaving behind. But now that we've been out here for a while and we are getting more comfortable out here and making our own plans for the future and stuff like that, it's now starting to feel worth it, which is nice to know that it wasn't all for naught.
The only thing I want to bring my phone is probably
For sure.
I have a mindset that tends to make me think of the negative almost always. And I'm struggling now to think of a negative, unexpected thing.
While I do this, I'm going to turn all the nav lights off, except for the top one.
Okay.
Just keep a more watch on traffic.
Yep.
Dolphins right behind me? Yeah. Nice. See, how am I supposed to answer about negative, unexpected things interrupted by dolphins?
I just saw 2 dolphins right in front of Small World.
That's nice. Oh, yeah, right there. Behind Walden. Yeah, I'll answer maybe a little bit to the side. I'll say that This life is not without an incredible amount of hard work. I wouldn't say it's necessarily negative, and I wouldn't say it was necessarily unexpected, but I think a lot of people have this idea of coming out and just being on vacation 24/7. We talked about just barely for seconds feeling that vacation feeling. The rest of the time we're working, and it's just something I would like to impress on all viewers out there. The life is hard. There are high highs and there are low lows, but we can guarantee you, you will be full of life. You will not be numb in any way.
Found the issue. These are all disintegrated and they came off of my hands. So that's what we'll be replacing.
Do you have what you need?
I do. Perfectly fine.
It takes a lot of effort to break out, and you question yourself every step of the way. Is it really worth all of the effort? So that was the hardest part for me.
Do you feel like it has been worth all the effort?
Oh, a million times over. I am a different person than I was 2 years ago in a dramatic fashion. And I feel much more at peace with the person I am now, with the way I'm living life now, than what I was doing before.
Sailing to me is the ultimate expression of freedom. Everything is self-reliant. You are your own electrician, you're your own plumber, you're making your own power with the solar and the wind, and you are totally self-reliant. How else do you describe freedom? Being able to do and be whatever you need, whenever you need it. And sailing definitely offers you that. Go where you want. Go wherever the wind takes you. Even if the wind isn't directly taking you there, you can find a path to get where you want to go. Manipulate the variables. It's a simulation.
We're out here. I was just looking behind Emily, and a really big fin came out of the water. Lo and behold, there's a whole pod of orcas.
Mm-hmm.
One even came right next to the starboard side of the boat. I doubt we got it on camera, but just right here looking through the water, I could see its white patches as it kind of turned its belly towards us and looked back up at the boat as it curved around. It was so cool.
They did like a little barrel roll next to the boat. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, get out of the boatyard.
Get out of the boatyard.
Holy shit.
That was awesome. What a welcome back to the wild.
Season 2.
Season 2. We moved halfway across the country.
This has got to be the busiest night shift I've had in months. Well,
Nice.
Depth of 7.
I think one of my favorite sailing stories, at least recently, and honestly doubles as a cultural experience, was crossing the bar into Altata. That was a crazy experience in and of itself because we had to essentially surf across the bar into the channel.
Make sure you got a good grip up there.
To be able to comfortably take our whole house 1,000 miles in a month with no diesel was pretty cool.
Totally insane.
going from the dreaming stage to the doing stage.
There's a lot of learning happening all at once in so many different facets.
Anything, like, this is a dream come true.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.